So here we go, some MMORPG news. Amazon Games will publish NCSoft's Throne and Liberty in the Americas, Europe and Japan. I think this is North America, South America, Europe and Japan in total. So this is something that everyone was already speculating on. There was already rumours flying around about this. It makes complete sense to me. In this video, we're just going to talk about my opinion on Amazon Game Studios, Amazon Games as a publisher, the overall MMO publishing space, what I expect for this game in general, what I expect for Throne and Liberty, and just speculate on a few things. Oh, we're also going to go through the Reddit thread on the MMORPG subreddit and just read some of the comments and give my take on it, because we have to fill the void till 8 minutes so I can get ad revenue anyways, so there's probably not that much to do other than that. Just going to be honest with you. So Amazon Games and NCSoft today announced an agreement to bring massively multiplayer online role-playing game Throne and Liberty to North America, South America, Europe and Japan. They're going to publish the game on PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox Series X and S with support for cross-platform play. So then they just go over the details of what we already know. It's an MMO. You can transform into a beast, explore the skies, explore the seas, be the bee's knees, as long as you buy the cash shop outfits, which... that's probably going to also be a topic we're going to have to discuss about this one. So, rumours were bolstered earlier this year when NCSoft laid off a reported 20% of its Western workforce. Apparently, security's outside my door. Cool. You could probably hear that. NCSoft laid off 20% of its Western workforce, telling us that it's affected only publishing staff, but not Throne and Liberty itself. So yeah, NCSoft West is ostensibly a dead company. The fact that they're not publishing the game themselves when they have a Western office that has published MMOs before just goes to show that the Korean, which is the majority part of this company, just doesn't. They just don't care. They don't want anything to do with NCSoft West. It's fucking dead. Now, of course, it doesn't go into details about the business model. We all know it's just going to be what flavor of Mr. Whippy level of shit are we going to get with this one? How full is your cone going to be of that good old Korean monetization? It's not really super worth talking about. I'll obviously give my take on it. But just to speak on the release date, there's no date given, but they have said the first half of 2023. We're already almost in March, and of course that gives us 3 more months of release window. They've said this is going to be a global launch. I'm not sure how true that's going to be. Maybe it changes depending on how the testing and stuff goes. But if it's a global launch, a couple months, and we'll be playing, or at least some of us, the people that aren't really upset at every MMO ever, will be playing Throne and Liberty. At least giving it a whirl, giving it a try. Now, in terms of my opinion on Amazon Games, Amazon Game Studios, the publishing arm, the developing arm, obviously the development arm of this company, I've made my opinion clear on this one many a times. I've nothing against the people working there. Sure, they're lovely people. I know it all stems from upper management, executives, etc. It's just a fucking dumpster fire. They are doing the best with the tools they've been given. If you don't know what happened, Amazon Game Studios was essentially run by somebody called Mike Frazzini, who has no fucking idea about video games, was basically in there due to complete sheer nepotism, cronyism, and essentially he forced them to work with technology that was not fit for purpose in any kind of way, and they ended up wasting hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it was like $500 million 2 years ago, making games that they didn't release. Then, of course, the one game they did release, Crucible, they pulled it back into alpha a couple weeks after release, and then killed the game a couple weeks after that. Then, of course, New World is the only other persistent release title, and we all know what's happened with New World. If you follow along the MMO space, it's been bad. It's been a mess. The game has, bright spots. It has some light shining through the fucking clouds of dreariness, like living in England. And other than that, it's not the greatest, right? Numbers aren't the greatest. Big marketing push, big company, owns Twitch, did a push on that. Still couldn't get people to really play it. Numbers are a little bit up now with updates, but generally not too good. So as a development studio, that's going to get a big thumbs down for me. As a publisher, so far, everyone seems to be going with Amazon Game Studios, and it makes complete sense. They're the ones that have the servers, they have the staff, they have the infrastructure, and they probably can squeeze out, as Amazon is known to do, by the way, if you know anything about their business practices in like their marketplace and stuff like that. My.Games, Gamigo, Gameforge, companies like that, they have been the ones traditionally that would have got something like this. But of course, they're being squeezed out of the industry, thankfully, of course. But obviously, what does Amazon turn into once they've got essentially an effective monopoly on Western publishing of MMOs? Probably not worse than them in their current form. Gameforge obviously is a mess. Gamigo, you can go watch any of my videos about them for my opinion. But that is to say that they really have no place in the MMO industry anymore. Lots of small games don't release. It's not 15 years ago where seemingly every month some random South Korean small MMO would release and we'd need, Gameforge to pick it up or whatever else and just siphon off all the blood and then fucking just throw away the husk of what could have potentially been a fairly fun game. Now, in terms of publishing, people seem to have like a misconception about publishing because they're used to mainstream gaming publishing, and people will bring up examples like, Amazon's going to have a lot of control over this because it's Amazon and they're publishing the game, so here's what EA is known for. Of course, ignoring the fact that EA owns their development studios. They're not a third-party publisher. In third-party publishing, I've seen these contracts. Not for Amazon, of course, but in general, they're going to be kind of similar. It's mostly just like, we will run your service, and that's about it. We'll do customer support. We'll take the patches you send us. Maybe we'll be the ones to localize it with language, etc. Then we basically just goes in circle hole, goes into the game. Maybe they have some agency on when they run certain events within the game. Maybe they discuss, what can we change to make it a little bit more Western friendly in terms of things that are like simple number tweaks. But aside from that, they don't really do much of anything. So the idea that Amazon's going to bring the game to the West and it's going to be vastly different in terms of monetization, or Amazon's going to remove pay to win, they're not. And it also wouldn't benefit them to do so. So that's Blue Protocol, Lost Ark, New World, and Throne and Liberty. Amazon Games in on all the MMOs lately. Yeah, like I say, they're taking over. They might even be giving good rates to all these companies to get all the market share and then just squeeze all these other companies out. And then once they're the big dogs that everyone is going to, up those rates. It's a very common business tactic. If you've got enough money to bleed and not make a bunch of profit on something, you can essentially just run at a deficit, run at a loss, subsidize it with other areas of your company, and then as soon as you've got the lion's share of the market and everyone's with you and you provide the best service, up that and then start making your money. Very common. AGS are a lesser evil. They haven't been too bad, and there's a lot of worse companies, but they aren't that good either. Yeah, it's basically just, would I rather have these or Gameforge or Gamigo or My Games? I'd rather Amazon Game Studios. I think most people are going to reasonably land on that exact same line of thinking. I think the only problem that I've seen with Amazon Game Studios for a publisher is when Lost Ark launched, they didn't have enough European servers. It was the same thing with New World. They didn't have enough servers. But I understand that's a bit of a balancing act, because do you have too many servers and then have them dead, knowing you're going to have to merge them in 1, 2, 3 months anyway, because there's a steep decline in MMO population, always and forever, always will be. I think one of the only games where this hasn't happened is WoW, World of Warcraft, and of course over time Final Fantasy XIV has gone up, but on initial launch that also had the same decline. So what do you do? How do you win this one? Obviously, if you just run a mega server game where everyone connects to the same server or shards of the same server, which are like channels, like Black Desert Online, for instance, or RuneScape, this alleviates it. But if you're going for a game that has servers like Black Desert Online originally did, where you want to have like guilds vying for control over land and ownership in open world and stuff, you can't do that. So things like Lost Ark, it's the same thing, right? So I'm not going to super go hard on them, but their communication at the start of that wasn't very good. There was massive queues on most servers on Europe. It was unplayable for a couple of weeks unless you logged on at weird times. You couldn't really come home from work. Of course, I don't do that. Live with my mum in the basement, obviously, and don't have a job. You couldn't come home from work and load up Lost Ark on Europe for like a month. So hopefully that won't be a repeat. Raise your hand if you're excited that NC West won't be killing any more games with shitty publishing. The company's pretty much fucking dead anyway. And again, most of the decisions regarding everything with NC West would have came from NC Soft Korea, because It's just a subsidiary. I don't think they're being like, oh yeah, let's kill this game. They're owned by somebody else. Their big boss would probably be telling them. Say what you want about Amazon, but they're quite good publishers. They can handle servers, great marketing, which is so important, and they push for more fair monetization. I'm not sure about this part. Push for more fair monetization. I'd like to see a source on that one, but who knows? Maybe I've just not seen it. Yeah, they can definitely handle servers. They have one of the most powerful web services in the world. So that's really good. And marketing is a great point. They own Twitch. They have one of the best ad services in the world with that. So yeah, definitely good on that front. Better than GameForge or some of those shit publishers, true. Could have been GameForge. Strong uptick in hate for GameForge. Appreciate it. Although I would have liked to have seen the top comments be about Gamigo, because fuck Gamigo. They know Korean MMOs are good at one thing, especially milking money out of people. Yeah, because Amazon's way different. They're not good at milking money out of people. Good, that means they will cut some of that pay to win. I might play the game a lot longer than I thought. I hope they cut it out completely. Amazon published Lost Ark that allows you to buy in-game currencies and crafting materials. It is very pay to win. So I don't know how different the monetization is between Lost Ark West and Korea. But Lost Ark it's pay to win. Like, you can, as far as I'm aware, you can just pay your way to the top of the game. So what did they cut out of West and Lost Ark? Maybe I'm just completely wrong, but I think this is a cope. I hope it's true. But the thing is that what people tend to not understand is that when a game is designed around pay-to-win cash shop items, and by pay-to-win, obviously, we'd have to, it's a pretty nebulous term, we'd have to explain what do we mean by that. Obviously, in Black Desert Online, people say pay-to-win, like costumes and pets and things like that, whereas other people call it convenience. Obviously, being able to do things faster and designing the game around people min-maxing with that faster stuff. If you remove all of that, but don't change the game, like the design and the speed of things, the game fucking sucks, right? It's designed for you to have fun and to be having a good time when you buy that stuff. And it's designed to be bad when you don't. So if you just remove it, or make it like accessible only through certain means within the game that are probably going to be quite hard to attain because they'll monetize you in a different way. They're going to have to, maybe a sub price or whatever else to get you giving them money. They're not just going to, log in and, oh, which ones do I want? I want this, 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 and this. It's not how it works. It's never happened. The game's just going to be objectively worse. Would I rather have them redesign the game? Yes, but that's not in a publisher's best interest or in their control in the vast majority of instances, especially when you don't own the game. If you're a third party, your negotiation usually comes down to, they can go with anyone, why would they go with me? And if I give them a bunch of stipulations like, you're going to have to make less money to placate us, they'll just go with a shittier company and make more money. I think that's, fairly common sense. But maybe this is true. Maybe this happens on a smaller scale. I don't think they're going to remove all of it. I think that's a big cope. But either way, I think this has ran on long enough, probably like 14 minutes long. So let me know what you think. Are you going to play Throne in Liberty? I'm definitely going to. It's been a while since I played an MMO. Even if it's going to be pay to win, it is what it is. I have to accept that at this point. The genre is not changing, specifically when it comes from a South Korean company. I think we all know what we're going in as an expectation on this one. And honestly, considering so few MMOs released that are like even remotely interesting or not some indie 3-man team shitting in a bucket in the basement game, I'm just looking forward to playing something. So I'll probably not spend a bunch of money. I'll probably not play it super long term unless it's actual top of the tier, cream of the crop, amazing. But it is what it is. See you next time. Peace out.